What's going on there, folks? Good morning, good afternoon to some out there. It is the Earthmaster out here, kind of early on this Sunday, January 8th, 2023. About 8:23 a.m. Sunday morning. Had an earthquake, also power outages out here in Northern California, but earthquake 7.0 right smack dab in our watch area. If you recall my previous updates here, we kind of chatted about this seismic gap in activity. This was the quiet zone around the Solomon Islands and Vanuatu area, and looks like they finally got hit this morning about 4:32 a.m. That earthquake came in about 27 kilometers deep, 7.0 earthquake in the Vanuatu area. I don't believe it triggered any type of tsunami. Let's check that statement back then. Looks like, yeah, it doesn't look like there was anything put out far as that. Let's see. It said at the time, it said hazardous tsunami waves are possible for coasts located within 300 kilometers. But probably because of the type of setup out here, if this had been a much larger quake, potentially we would have seen a some type of tsunami. But magnitude not super large, and it looks like it was. Just offshore here. But either way, 7.0 right smack dab in our watch zone. So where does that put us at today? Remember the westward pressure movement that we've been seeing in this area. We have seen some deeper movement over here in Fiji. This was looks like we had a 4.3, 500 kilometers deep, and of course from yesterday, super deep, 583 kilometers. Now, a couple scenarios would have been when this deeper activity occurs, we watch for strain building up here and potential larger scale activity upstream. But apparently there's just not enough here, so we look towards the west, and this is exactly where that pressure movement occurred overnight and this morning. So with that respect ongoing there, I still think we need to watch areas upstream. And there's been a lot of activity spread out all over the place here along the western Pacific and adjacent plates. Most areas except for the Mariana Trench region. So that may be another spot here we might want to watch for some potential movement here soon. All right, the area around Japan, of course, this was swarming up here last night. Looks like still two earthquakes up on the map from yesterday, 4.6 and a 4.5. Nothing showing up here so far this morning. And up into the Alaska area, typical movement across the region right now. No major swarming activity. Into the coast range here of Northern California. Of course, we've got the Cobb Mountain area, Clear Lake Volcanic Field down here. And that, of course, is associated with the hydrothermal operations ongoing there with the Calpine Energy Solutions, creating some earthquakes by injecting raw sewage down below. Yes, that's a fact. I'm not joking. That's an actual process that they do to create energy. Oh, goodness. Too early for that, right? A little bit of activity across the Bay Area. Nothing going on majorly. In the Ridgecrest area, seeing some activity. Still relatively quiet if you look at normal background levels here in California. Not for sure what's going on, but entering into a little quiet period out here along the west coast. And that includes areas in the North American continent as well, inland. We do have one earthquake here in the Oklahoma area stirring up just outside, north of El Reno. Let's see what we have out there for the satellite imagery. I can already see what's out there. A whole bunch of little squares indicative of some, at least kind of look like oil pumping operations, some older ones. And this 2.4 looks like it may be occurring within the vicinity of one. Sometimes it's hard to tell, but there's definitely a lot of oil fields out there. You can see them. And a lot of times these are marked West Edmond oil field, and there's many more around the area. Rest of the state's relatively quiet. Puerto Rico area, a little bit of movement up around the Puerto Rico Trench again, kicking off. And a little swarm north of the British Virgin Islands. Most of this activity, though, late last night, super early this morning, some threes into that region. New Zealand, let's see what we got down here, if we got any adjustment. That's another area we need to watch with all this westward pressure movement here. Deep activity into the Tonga Trench. Definitely have to watch this area of the plate. It just can't, not going to sit there and warp like a spaghetti noodle. It's definitely going to be building up some strain into this area. This earthquake here from last night, 4.5, South Island, New Zealand. Now let's go ahead and check. I'm going to check out the GeoNet servers here in just a little bit, but I wanted to see if that 7-pointer showed up here on the Yellowstone graphs. It looks like it did over here around Grant Village. There's going to be some S waves right there. See the squiggly lines indicating that surface frequency from that seismic wave. Okay, let me check out GeoNet servers here real quick and see what we have for the activity. 2.5, there's 4.7 from yesterday. 2.5 looks to be the latest there, about 4 hours ago. And I'm sure that 7.0 showed up. It should have shown up here. There it is. I can always tell these distant earthquakes right there. That's going to be the 7-pointer in the Vanuatu area showing up on the one of the volcanic drums there in the New Zealand area. But far as earthquake activity locally, no major swarms going on across the New Zealand area. Space weather activity is elevated. And goodness, we're crackling with M flares for the most part. We noticed this last night on an uptrend here, indicating that highly unstable environment for the sunspots and the magnetic structure here of these fields that they harbor. 25% chance right now for an X flare. Proton event 10%, 60% for an M flare, and almost 99% certainty with a C flare. We are crackling with many C flares and a couple M flares in there as well. And these are coming from numerous sunspots here that are now facing Earth view. The most recent image this morning here shows quite a bit of dynamic complex magnetic structure here amongst many of these sunspot regions. This one over here looks like it may be dying off, but we still got to watch this area right here with some growth and this monster of a sunspot, which is now turning into view almost directly facing Earth, 3182. So a couple of these definitely harbor some potential for some X flare probability. 3182 is that large sunspot I just showed you. That harbors a beta gamma delta class, which harbors the most here for the X flare potential. 20% chance from this baby, and it's already produced confirmed X1.2 a couple days ago, and then possibly another X flare when it was behind the southeastern limb of the sun. So we'll continue to watch that here, as looks like it's probable that we'll see at least another strong M flare, possibly an X flare here very soon from that sunspot. All right, folks, power went down about 3 o'clock in the morning. Had some high winds. We're talking about 70 miles per hour out here, and dealing with some flooding. A lot of roads closed out here in Northern California. I'm going to try to get out here to the Sacramento River today and also check out some reservoir here locally and see how that's doing as far as capacity goes. But we're definitely getting a lot of rainfall. We got a bunch overnight, and we got a bigger storm coming in late tonight and Monday, which is going to bring in some more flooding and possible river flooding as well here in Northern California. So we'll continue to watch that very closely. But either way, I'll be out and about. I am going to get the stream back up here and running before I leave. But just a heads up, stream is down. We'll get it up here real soon. Have a good day, folks. Stay safe. We'll catch you guys later. Peace out. Have a good one.